Hi, my name is Amelie Schaefer. I'm with Systematic Excellence Consulting, and today I'm going to continue my series reviewing ClickUp's free templates. And today we're going to go over the bug queues or bug tracking template. So the first thing we're going to do is add it to our account. So once you choose the space you want it in, I'm going to put it in my template space. I'm going to go to the plus sign, and I'm going to go to new folder, and I'm going to go to templates. I'm going to go to community, and I'm going to find the bug queues. I'm going to click on that, and this tells you the different information, the status group, what custom fields are here, and then the different views that are added. And I'm going to go ahead and hit use template. And then you can, I'm going to call this tracking. And then it's telling me what location. If I want to import everything, I do. I want to remap. And I'll just say that it's going to start today. Skip weekends. And then we want to import everything as open. And then I'm not going to bring in any archived tasks. So then I'm going to go ahead and hit use template. And then it's adding it to my folder, I'm sorry, my space. So you can see it's called bug tracking. I had already imported it, and that's why I gave it a different name. Okay, so let's go over it. So I'm going to click on the folder level. And so the first thing I do when I come in and look at a template is I want to know what my process is. What are my steps? What are my, the needed, what information is needed? And then I want to look at how this is organized and see if it fits with how I have been organizing things in my business. So the first thing I want to look at is, let's just look at what's available. So I'm at the folder level, and they have the name of the task. So any bugs that have come in, for this template, they have an assignee, they have a priority, they have front end scrum points and back end scrum points, and then total points. They have whether it's confirmed or not, a sprint, and then the feature. So if these all work for you, that's fantastic. If you need to edit them, you totally can do that. And so if you want to edit, the scrum points, maybe you have different numbers, maybe you want different colors, that's totally fine. And you just hit add edit options, and it's going to let you edit those, and you can change the colors and all of that. You can add additional options. You can even rename the top if you don't prefer what the name that they have. Now, when we pull in this for the total points, it says there's an error. So if you click on that, it says that it's missing a field. So we can select front end points plus back end points. And then we hit calculate. And now it's going to go ahead and calculate those points for us, which is great. Confirmed is a checkbox. Oh, this, I do want to mention that these are labels, and this is a function. So if we go to add new and we go to, formula, that's what it's called. You can add a new one. We'll just call it test. And if I hit add column, now once I click on that, it's going to ask me to select which field I want to add up. And then I can also subtract, multiply, divide, and it'll allow me to calculate that. So that's how you would add that. And remember, if you add it at the folder level, it will be applied to the list. If you add something at the list level, it'll only be applied to that list and not to the entire folder. So all the things we're going over now are at the folder level. Okay, so then it has the features. So if you have more features that you want to add, you can edit those, and that's totally fine. Then the only thing that I would add here, so once I open the task up, I can see those custom fields, and then I can also see what else is in here. So they have an option for app, For device, getting more specific about whatever the issue was. And so if those don't fit, then you'll want to edit them accordingly. Now, the other thing that I would do is I would make sure that there's some notes in here as far as like what the specific issue is. Obviously, this is a template so that they don't have those kinds of things here. But I would either copy and paste it depending on how the bugs are, you know, the notice about the bug is coming in. Maybe it's an email, maybe it's a form. Whoever is managing that, I would have them copy and paste whatever the actual message was inside the description so that whoever is working on them will know. Then I would also have, you know, whatever the standard operating procedure is for that, I would create a template task in here. So, you know, maybe you have a template task that you create that has, you know, the instructions. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back over to our bug tracking. And then in the template task, let's say in here, you have your instructions, or maybe, you know, a link. You could have your SOP and then have it linked. So if your SOP is a Google Doc, you could link that there. And then you could turn this into a template. Call it the bug tracking template task. And then we'll go ahead and hit save on that. And so then when a new bug comes in, you can apply this template. So that way the SOP gets linked and, you know, any instructions that you have. So if this was the, you know, a new bug that came in, then we'll go over to Template Center. We want to browse templates, and we want to use this template here. Then what it's going to do is it's going to add anything that we've put in here. It's going to add that to the task. And so then and then you can also set up an automation that when a new bug comes in or a new task comes in, that template gets applied automatically. And you can leave the template here or you can delete it. Once you save it as a template, it's in your template center forever, and go from there. And I'm not sure if I mentioned the priority. They have the priority set as well, which is nice because I'm going to show you the different views that they have available, and one of them is set to priority. So, or it's filtered by priority. So now, the next thing I want to go over is the different lists. So they have the hotfix, internal bugs, backlog, and then they associate it with different sprints. So they have the sprints here. If you need to add an additional, list, if this isn't your exact process, I would, like I said, just evaluate what they have first and then make the necessary changes. I did make one change, and I'll show you that in a minute. I want to go over the views at the folder level first, and then I'll go over the list that I think would be helpful in just making this a little more effective as the template. So in the list view, they have 3 lists. So they have the main list, which is what we're looking at right now, which is just showing the open tasks. And from this view, they have they're just showing open tasks. They're not showing anything empty. And then they have the priority view. So this is organized by priority. So what they did is they created a new list, and then they said they want it organized by priority. They clicked on that to show, and then if you want to flip it, you can flip to show no priority. Obviously, that's probably not what you want, so we'll go ahead and flip that back. And then the other view that they have is, and I want to mention here, I guess, let me do that first. So here, they've now also included what with the custom fields here, what status it is. So it pulled it from whatever status it was in the list, open or any one of these statuses, and I'll go over those in a moment. The due date, the time estimate confirmed, what sprint it is, and then of course the priority and the assignee. So with different lists, even if it's in the folder, multiple lists, you can set it up to look however you want. So you could add the different, maybe you want to see one of the other custom fields, maybe you want to see what device it was on. Okay, so I just realized that what I did, I actually deleted it from the folder instead of hiding it, and that's my mistake. So this actually works out well. So if you delete what I just deleted, so when I went in to add the device, so I added the device, so I'm just showing you the app. What I did is I hit delete, which removed it from the folder versus just hiding the column. So if that happens, then all you have to do is import you want to import the template again in order to get that back. Once it's deleted, we can't get it back. Okay, so I realized what I just did is I actually, I deleted the device custom field. So I'm going to show you how to get it back, but the first thing I want to do is show you. So if we added the app and then you decide, you know, I actually don't want to see that right here, instead of hitting delete, we want to just hit hide column. Now to get it back, because I deleted it accidentally, we're going to go to the two circles on the bottom left. We're going to go to trash, and then we're going to go to device. You can see this right here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit restore. And now it's going to restore that. So now it's fixed. So I guess that worked out well that I accidentally deleted that. Okay, so, and we can check to see if it's there. So if we click the plus sign and we scroll down, there it is. The device is still there. So again, instead of deleting it, you want to just hide the column. So they've set this up to hide those other columns from the first list I showed you. So you can hide the different columns, add other ones, however is best for you to see what's going on. And then the other list is what's in review. So right now there's nothing in review, so that's not going to show anything. But if we go back to the main list, and let's just say, I'm going to just put the template task in review. So now you can see that it's actually popped up here. And so if we put in, if we move these to the different tasks, the different statuses that are in the list, which I'm going to show you in a second, it will pop up here. And if you want to flip it around so that you can see what's open, you can do that. And if you don't want to see all of these, then you can set up a filter to filter out specific statuses that you want to see. So maybe you just want to see open, so we can select that, and maybe you just want to see review. Okay, and then what it's going to do is just show, oh, I didn't save the filter, whoops. Okay, let's try that again. So we want to maybe see open, and we want to see what's in review, and we hit confirm. And now that filter's set. So it's not going to show us any of the other tasks. It's just going to show us those statuses. And then as you can see, there's nothing in review here. So all we're seeing is open. And then we can just save that view. Now, if we go to review, it's going to show us that template task that we placed in review. Okay, and now let's go, let's go over the other views. So they have two board views. They have one that is, and this is the folder level, so it's showing everything across all of the lists. So as you can see here, it's showing all the different status, it's showing the different statuses in a board view. Then what they have is the Agile board. So they have this in here. Now, if these weren't here, all of these would be collapsed. Now, if you want to open it up, you just click the arrow. And if you want to then collapse it again, so now this is collapsing the group. So there's two in between here. So if I want to collapse those, I can do that. If I want to see what else is here, it'll collapse that view. And then you can see what's there or not. And then that way, if you want to move them through the process, you can do that. So, you know, you could open this up, and if this is in here, then you would move it there. Okay, so then they have a timeline view, two timeline views. So they have one that's a timeline, and then they have another one, and you can rename these to make it make sense for you. I maybe would call this one the sprint. And if you click on the three dots, we can rename it. Maybe we call this the sprint timeline, something like that. Now, they've organized it by sprint. And the way they do that is it says group by custom field, and then they've selected sprint. That's one of the custom fields that they have in the template. And then if you want to see just the regular timeline view, you can do that. And then this is going to show you the month of February that's remaining, and then into March. And you can zoom out or, you know, zoom in and change the view how you want. Again, this is not grouped by anything, but you have multiple things that you can group by. You can group by status. And so then it's going to show you all the different statuses and then where each of those tasks are at. And then if you want to save the view, you can save it there. One last thing that I want to show you here is they have a bug report form. Now this is a free account, so in order to get the form, in order to have forms in here, you have to have the unlimited or business account, and so you can upgrade to have that. Now what I did is I came up with a way to kind of use it instead of using the bug report if you're still using the free account, which is totally fine. What this does is it's a form that people can use to submit a bug, and then it will create a task once someone's filled out the form. So you can use that and upgrade, or what you can do, and I created it over here, is, well, I'll just do it here. So what I thought would work is if you create a new list, and let's call it bug submissions, and we'll create the list, and maybe this is the first list. Okay, so in here, what I would do is you can get the email address for the bug submission. So let's say you have a specific email account that the bugs get submitted to. When those emails come in, if you have someone monitoring that inbox, and potentially you could set up, you know, a Zap or something that will pull that information in. But if you don't want to do the automation, then if you have an email address that it comes in through, then you can email from your email account. You can actually email to a list. So if we wanted to do that, then we just go down to more, we go to email list, and then you just copy this email address, and you can actually send the email from your inbox into this ClickUp list. And then from there, I think what I would do is I would have someone be monitoring this and then put them into the different categories, you know, make sure the information's there, add all the custom fields that need to be added, and then put them into, you know, hotfix, internal bugs, or backlog, or whatever other lists that you have. So it's kind of a workaround. If you have the ClickUp Chrome extension, then if you're using your email in Chrome, there's actually a little icon that will show up in your email, and you can create a new task right from an email. And I have a video on that, and so I'll put the link to that in the video description. But you can actually email from your from your inbox, that's another way to do it. And then you would just create a new task and it would attach the email to the task. And then that way you have another way to organize it. So if you're working on the free account, obviously you're not going to have the form option. Now, if you do have the business or unlimited, then you'll have the form option, and then you can just use that link for people to submit any bugs that they have. Okay, so let's go over the list. So I want to go over the hotfix. So what I want to do, the first thing I always do is I go to show, I want to see empty statuses, even potentially closed tasks, and then I want to flip this around so I can see open at the top, and then I save the view. And so these are the different statuses that they have. If you need something changed in this, then you can edit the list statuses. But because these lists have the same statuses, I would probably change them. If you want all the lists to have the same statuses, I would change them at the folder level so it reflects on them. If you have specific statuses for the different lists, then you want to make those changes at the list level. In order to do that, you click on the three dots and you go to list statuses. This is going to change them here in this list in the list. So then you can go to custom or use folder statuses. That's fine. And then make your changes, save them. If you want to change them at the folder level, you go to the three dots and you go to statuses, and then we can change them here. And so right now this is set to custom. You can edit them here, and that will reflect in all of the lists. Okay, so from here, and how you move this through is just moving it through. So, if you are, if someone can't log in, this is pending, meaning, someone is waiting on to get started on it. You can set the priority, and then you can also change any of these depending. So they have it going through pending, investigating, cannot reproduce. I would recommend, let me go through the rest of them. Confirmed, in progress review, issues found, update requested, ready, stage, production, closed. If you like these and you want to even rearrange them, you can do that. What I would do though, and I think that's really important here, is that having a standard operating procedure that says when things can be moved to the different statuses, and then what happens when it gets moved there. So if something goes from pending to investigating, is there something that needs to happen? Is there a note that needs to be added to the description of the task? If it goes from, review to update requested, does an email need to go out? Or whatever the process is, I would have a standard operating procedure that explains how something gets moved, like when it can be moved to the status and any actions that are required afterward. And then from there, you can create subtasks or checklist items based on what is required. Now, and what you can do if you have the standard operating procedure, I really like to do this in the list view, is I go to the little I right there, and then I might put the SOP link at the top so that it's hyperlinked at the top here, and then that way it lives there. Everyone can find it and know what the process is when they're moving tasks through, dealing with the different bugs that come in. And then at the list level, they again have lists, priority review, just like they had at the folder level. They have the two board views, just like they did at the folder level. They have the timeline view, just like they did. And then they have the one that is broken down by sprint. And then the same thing with the internal bugs. And so to set this up, we just go to empty statuses, close tasks, and then maybe we flip it around and then we hit save. So again, this is same kind of setup and the same thing with the backlog. And I would have the SOP at each list level, and inside the task. I think it's a lot easier. It maybe feels a little bit like it's, you know, double the work, but I think making it easier to find anything that someone needs for this, for going through this process, working on these bugs, the quicker they can get started and the less hours they're spending searching for things. So even if there's a Google folder that applies to it, anything that applies to this that that someone might need when they're sitting down to work on these tasks, the more information that can be available to them in one place, the better. Okay, so that is the bug tracking or bug queue template, and I hope that that was helpful. And I do want to say that these are the free templates are a great place to get started. Obviously, they require some customization, and I think that it's a great place to start. So make sure you have your process down somewhere, whether it's on a Google Doc or written out, whatever. Then you can come in here, see what's available, and then make the changes accordingly. Have your standard operating procedure, have instructions, add checklist items, add any instructions in the task description, and then create training around it. So you have a video that goes through it that will go into your SOP so that everyone on your team knows how to use this process. Now, if you are looking for help with customizing it, or maybe even creating your process to know how to customize this, you can always book a call with me. I have a free 20-minute consultation. I'll answer as many questions as I can during the 20 minutes. And then if you need additional help, you can always book. I do one-off 1 hour, 2-hour calls where I dive in with you and work on that. So that link to book the free call is in the description of the video. Please like the video, leave comments if you have questions or thoughts about it, and make sure you subscribe to catch my future videos. Again, my name is Amelie, and I'm with Systematic Excellence Consulting. This is the ClickUp Mastery YouTube channel, and thank you so much for watching.